Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Today we're doing episode 7 of our Spin Out TBR challenge. This is basically a challenge on my channel where we spin a wheel full of prompts and whatever it lands on, we'll pick the book that I read off my physical TBR behind me. Now, this intro is a little bit different because I lost the footage for my initial intro where I did the spin and reacted to the spin and picked the book and everything. So, let's bring up the wheel and I'll show you what I ended up spinning for our first spin of this video. So here is the wheel full of prompts, and this is what I ended up spinning at the start of this month. So it landed on Buzzword Cover Challenge. So this is a challenge on Storygraph by Books and Lala on YouTube, where she has the prompts per month, and whatever that prompt is, you read a book during that month with that prompt. Oh my god, I'm so bad at explaining this, but I'll bring up what this month's prompt was and you will see that I believe it was metallic elements on the cover. So I ended up picking Silver Elite for that prompt by Denny Francis, and I believe I picked this one because it was one that I really wanted to pick up. My friends had read it and they really said it was good, and I wanted to experience it for myself. So, without further ado, let's get into the video and see what my thoughts were on this book. Okay, so I thought I would update you on the reading that I've been doing in Silver Elite by Denny Francis. I am now 200 pages in, which is approximately 40% of the way into this book. And I am quite enjoying it, surprisingly. So this is basically following Ren. We're in a world where we've got mods and normal humans, and mods basically have telepathic sort of powers. They can either read people's minds, or they can talk mind to mind, or there are some that can control people's actions. And those sorts of people are killed on sight, essentially, because that's kind of scary. And our main character, Ren, is a mod, and she starts off this book basically doing something that shows a little bit too much of herself, and it causes them to find her uncle and find out that he's in hiding, and he gets executed and she gets thrown into this academy. Even though she's in this academy sort of setting where they're training her to be a soldier and she's forced into this setting, they currently don't know that she is a mod, and these people are training to essentially fight against mods. So this is really interesting in the premise of the world. It's interesting in the premise of what her abilities are. I am seeing a lot of similarities between certain scenes with Divergent and certain scenes with the Hunger Games. So this is very much emanating those original sort of dystopian YA dystopian novels that used to be around when I was a teenager, and these coming back now as like a dystopian genre is not actually quite that far-fetched. I believe this book had things surrounding it on people believing whether it's AI or not. I don't have any opinions on that. All I can say is that there are similar scenes in this book to those original YA dystopian books, but they're not so similar that I think they were copied, or like that AI has copied them. That's my unprofessional opinion though. I have no idea, but I'm enjoying it so far. I think the only thing I'm not enjoying is that occasionally something will be shown to you and it clicks and you get it and you know what's going to happen, you know what it means, and then it's like they didn't think that you being shown was enough, and so the character has to reiterate it to someone else or in her own head so that you get the message that this has happened and this means this. I don't like that it's doing that because I don't like being made out to be stupid when I'm reading a book. I want to be able to read a book, and even if I miss things the first read through, when I read it a second time, I get them, you know? So I don't like being implied that I'm a little bit too stupid to notice these things because they were quite obvious. But other than that, I don't think there's anything bad happening. There was a moment where she's trying to get out of this academic setting. So she's trying everything she can to basically be taken out of this setting so that she doesn't have to do it. So she's performing worse than she normally would, and just whenever someone says, oh, they do this to test you whether you're going to be thrown out, she does that thing and ultimately doesn't get thrown out. But because she's doing this and she didn't want to get into a fight, she wasn't fighting this person, and I just kept saying to myself, just punch her, I just want you to punch her. And then when she punched her I like literally whacked my partner and went, she punched her. So I'm really enjoying that aspect of this. I don't know what that says about me. I guess I like violence in books, but also the person was really irritating me. I just wanted her to punch her. Anyway, that's beside the point. That's all I really have to say at the moment. I was going to wait until I was exactly halfway through to update you, but I figured I'd update you with my current thoughts and what I'm feeling right now, and we'll see how we go, because I am hoping to get through a fair chunk of this today, because today we are 2 days out from my birthday, and I would like within my birthday weekend to decide if I want the second book in this series, because it's currently out. It only just came out a couple of months ago maybe. And if I enjoy this enough, I might get the second book. But also, in saying that, today I did go shopping with my partner, and he bought me some books. So we are now back at 130 books on the physical TBR. But hopefully, maybe I can get through a lot of books and get them off my physical TBR in this video. I'm not planning on reading books that I want to unhaul necessarily, because it is my birthday month. I would like to actually read some good books. So far this is going well, and I'm holding back spinning the wheel to pick my next books already. That's how excited I am to see what the next book's going to be. But I am hoping to finish a fair chunk of this today so that I can figure that out earlier rather than later, and also figure out if I would like to continue this series. Because at the moment, this isn't wowing me. Like, it's not a 5-star read at the moment. It could get up to a 4-star, I think, and that could entail me keeping it and continuing the series. So we will see how it goes. And I'm just going to have to update you when I've read more through it, because, you know. But yeah, I'm just going to basically curl up under a blanket and try and binge read a lot of this as much as I can, basically, before I update you next. Okay, if you hear any background noise, no you don't. We're also ignoring the Santa in the corner. I don't know why he's still there. He just hangs out with me when I'm working, whatever. I have now finished Silver Elite, and my opinions didn't really change. I still got annoyed at the repetition, how it kept reminding me about facts that it was saying that I thought was pretty clear, but it still felt the need to reiterate them to make it obvious, which actually made the plot twists not twisty enough. And I ended up predicting a lot of the plot twists, unfortunately. I also got to a point, I think I had 1/3 of the book left, and I lost interest, and I was really pushing myself to get through it. I really had a lot of trouble trying to make myself want to read it. And so, yeah, it didn't really go much better. I have settled at a 3-star for this. This is a book that I thought would actually be really good. A lot of my friends have rated it 5 stars. A lot of other people have rated it 5 stars. And I just don't think that I'm in that group of people. It's to the point where I actually think I read a completely different book, surely. But anyway, that's what I thought of this. Like, it didn't get better. Oh, I'm so frustrated with how it ended and how chaotic the ending was, and like our main character was so inconsistent that it just started to annoy me. I could go on forever about a lot of the things that I just didn't like about this book, but the setup was enough for me to give it 3-star. Like, it had so many things going for it, but it just ended up being a watered down version of all our favourite nostalgic dystopian books that we used to read like a decade ago. So, yes, I would love to spin the wheel again to get something that hopefully I'm going to enjoy more, but also I don't mind if I'm getting stuff off my bookshelves, because recently, it was my birthday, yesterday in fact, and I got a lot of books. to the point that now I have to display these books front ways because I just have no room, which now taking this off, I could probably spread them back out because that gap has to be filled. But yeah, I'll be unhauling this book, and let me grab the wheel so we know what I'm going to read next. Okay, so here is the wheel once again. Again, like I said, I am hoping for a good book next, but I also don't mind if I get some more books off my shelves that I don't particularly want to read. It could force me to do that, who knows? But let's just see. Like, I'm not going to know until I spin it. Just spin the wheel. Oldest book on my TBR. Okay. Okay, this one's probably on one of the lists of most likely to be unhauled as well. So let me just grab it and show you. Okay, so this is how I'm going to figure out what my lowest rated is. If we change this sorting to... come on, loading. Hang on, I'm not clicking the right thing. If we change the sorting to average rating... and there's the lowest rated book on my shelves. So it is... oh no. It is a 2.84 star rating on average. For that many ratings, that's pretty low. Without reading... okay, so it's averaging around 3. Well, not average, but like it's mostly around 3 stars that the majority of the ratings are. Okay. Okay, well, I have that in my lap because I had a feeling this was the lowest rated, because I remember I got this gifted to me and I had it on my wish list. I really did want it, but yeah, apparently it's not as popular as I thought it was. So this is such a pretty edition. Like, if I take off the dust jacket, that's so pretty. It's the same on the other side. But, like, pretty end pages. It's just... I wonder why it's not that great. Like, who knows? There are gods, there are humans, and then there's her. Is she a witch? Yeah, I don't know. I was starting to read it, but I should really go into it blind. I'm going to start reading this and see how we go, and I'll update you when I get a little bit through it. This is hard because like that average rating stuck in my head. I'm going to try and be as unbiased as possible and pretend I don't know that it's not a great rating. I'll be back in a moment. All right, so I moved the chair just slightly. It's been a couple of hours, maybe a few hours, and I have been reading the last one by Rachel Housel Hall, and I am already 100 pages in. Basically, our main character wakes up and she can't move, she can't talk. And there's someone on top of her and they're stealing her clothes and her necklace, basically everything on her, and they've run off with it. And she slowly, as she starts to be able to stand up and walk, she sees a trail, like everything's devoid of colour, but this one trail following this girl that like really reeked of death. And she follows her to a village and attacks her to try and get her stuff back, and she gets arrested. And then the girl that stole her stuff said, no, please don't. I revoked the charges, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, long story short, she ends up having to work off her debt in this village, even though she didn't really do anything. She doesn't remember who she is. She doesn't remember anything, really, about her past, what her name is, where she came from, how she got in the forest floor, how she was knocked out, how she wasn't able to walk or stand or anything. I think the most interesting part about it was there was, in these 100 pages, mind you, there was an attack by a Titan-like character, and it was an interesting creature. She also had a dream that had an interesting creature in it. That was interesting. I fear that I'm going to be agreeing with the low rating because there were certain elements in the writing that I just didn't like at all. Cringed me out. I took a picture, I should say, of one out of so many more that just didn't rub me right. There was, I raise an eyebrow and smirk. He's having a hard time unsticking his eyes from mine. Yeah, I'm sticky. I just can't. I can't. Oh my God. And I think we were literally like 20 pages in, maybe less than that, 16 pages I think it was. And she referred to him being attracted to her even though she was like dirty and everything and half dressed. And apparently he was attracted to her, and she goes, of course, I'm really attractive, or something like that. And then later on she goes, if he wants to adventure in my secret garden. And I was like, ooh, that's enough. But I did push through to 100 pages. I was trying to push through to 134, which would have put me at literally part 2. And then that would have been a decent chunk. But I got 100 pages in. And I am DNFing this, which is quite upsetting because this was gifted to me from one of my closest friends. But unfortunately, I just don't think I can do it. I don't think that the writing is for me. To an extent, it's really cringy. There was a whole 50-page chunk in these 100 pages that was really boring. Like, I flew through this. There's no complicated things happening in this book. I flew to this point. But it's the only thing that captured me was that one monster that happened in the whole 100 pages, and the rest of it was just cringy. I don't know where her fighting skills are coming from, which obviously she can't remember who she is, so that's fine. But like, out of the blue, this other guy's fighting. They've really got this huge connection instantly, like love connection. And yeah, I just don't think it's for me. So I will be taking my bookmark out, even though it wasn't in there for very long. And I think this is the time that I spin the wheel again in the same night to pick the next book to read, and this one will come off my shelves. I think I might actually try and sell this book on Vinted because it is quite a good edition and someone else might like it. I know it's the lowest rated book on Goodreads out of my books and it's not a great rating, but someone else might really want this and really love it, and it is a beautiful edition, and I took care while I was reading it not to damage anything, so it should be good for someone else. So let me grab the wheel so we can spin it again. Okay, so the wheel's here again. You know the drill. We just went through it. We just picked a book. Let me spin the wheel to see what our next book can be. An odd number of pages. I think that's going to be a lot easier to find a book that hopefully I will enjoy and not DNF within the 3 hours. So let me just pick a book with odd pages off my shelves to read. I had to once again shuffle where the camera was because my puppy decided that she was going to lay right where I was going to put it back. So I looked through my bookshelves and I was trying to find a book with odd pages that's on my 26 to read in 2026. And none of the ones that were easy access to me were odd numbers of pages. So I picked 2 out that are on my most likely to unhaul list, which doesn't mean that they're bad books because I haven't tried them yet. It just means that they're more likely to be unhauled because I haven't heard fantastic things about them and I have been putting them off and not wanting to pick them up in general. So I picked 2 off my shelves. And then because I couldn't make up my mind and I didn't want to spend too much time on here figuring that out and just jabbering on, I took it to my partner and I read him the back of both books, and he ended up picking The Wren in the Holly Library by K.A. Lind for me. Now, this is one that I bought, I was given on my birthday last year, so it's been on my bookshelf exactly a year. And as soon as I bought it, I heard mixed reviews about it. Like, as typically is, I hear nothing but positive reviews, and then I buy the book, and then I get the negative reviews, and I'm like, oh my god, which I'm getting better at this year. I will say that, way better. But this is one that was hauled with the Half King from my last, I think I read that in my last spin wheel video, and that one didn't go well for me. If you watch that video, I did finish the book, but it wasn't a fantastic rating, and it has since been unhauled, or it's in the unhaul pile over there for me to either sell or give away. But this one happened at the same time for the same reasons, so we'll see how I go with it. I am looking forward to reading it, because whether it comes off my shelf or not, it looks me in the eye every day, and I often just go, I should just pick it up and read it. So it has, on the last page that is listed, it has 381 pages, if you can see at the top there. And I think this will be good. So I'm going to go and start this. I have about an hour until midnight. I reckon I could, if I feel like it, when I go and sit down, I feel like I could go and read this and probably get through a little bit of a chunk through it tonight. I reckon I could read up to page 50 or so, wherever the closest thing to that stops on a chapter. Page 51 stops on a chapter, so I might even get up to there. We'll see what I'm thinking of this as I'm reading it, and hopefully it's better than the last one. I think it should be, because it wasn't on the lower end of the ratings of all my books. So I'll come back, hopefully tomorrow or the next day, with an update on this book. If you see me tonight and I'm in the same outfit, you know something's gone wrong. I'm about just over halfway through this book. I am currently on 214 pages in, and I think I came into this with the wrong impression. I was under the impression that this was like a stereotypical sort of Beauty and the Beast retelling. I thought we were definitely in a fantasy world. We are in a fantasy world, but an urban setting of a post-apocalyptic sort of style fantasy New York was not on my bingo card in any way whatsoever. I'm not saying I hate that about it. I'm saying that I don't know where I got what my thoughts were in the first place. I think honestly I got it from the cover because of all the plants and everything, but they make sense now. So this is basically set in New York after there was this huge war with monsters, which monsters is like vampires, werewolves, wraiths, ghouls, trolls. Like there's trolls manning train stations in New York, and certain vampires have taken over certain areas. Like there's different gangs that are like werewolves, and like there's a vampire gang and like all sorts. And we're following our main character, who's a thief, and she's hired to steal something off this person, and she's sort of checked out the place and got herself in there, and she gets caught, and by getting caught it breaks the treaty of the monsters that they had after the war, that they can't harm humans until they break into or harm monsters or break into their property, steal something from them, etc. And she, because she's been caught, has broken this treaty, but she's sort of taken by surprise because instead of killing her like the treaty states that he hires her to work for him. That sort of sets off a series of events that puts her and her friends in danger, and she ends up accepting his offer. That's basically all I really want to say, because I feel like anything else has spoiled up to this point. Even things on the back of this book, I feel like not knowing going into the book is probably the best bet for anyone that wants to go in blind. So that's all I'm going to say. There are certain things that are annoying me about this book, but for some reason I'm still loving the writing a lot more than I thought I would. There's things like every time he walks into a room, she thinks he's the most attractive being on earth, and he's like a sculpture, and she has different ways of describing how attractive he is every time he just walks into the room. But even though she's getting this insta attraction from him, I'm not getting in my head the image of exactly what he looks like. It's very hard for me to imagine, even though she's describing him as this like art sculpture of a man, like beautiful, artfully attractive man. I'm not getting the image of what he looks like in my head, other than a standard fantasy description of a man. The thing about this is it's not doing anything new with the romance. I feel this is just a version of something that you find in all the romantasy books these days, and I think that's the reason why I'm not finding as many that I love, because I'm having trouble deciphering them between each other. They all do the same thing. Now the plot is different, don't get me wrong. Like, she's a thief, she's doing these jobs. I haven't read a lot of books like that. It could be that I haven't expanded into that sort of side of the genre before, but that's different that way. It's just the romance is not so different, so I'm not getting the connection that they have. So by the time a spy scene happened, which has already happened at this point, I wasn't connected to them as characters. And I understand that they're not necessarily connected to each other at the moment, that there's just an attraction there that got them going, I guess. But I'm not sure. This is one of those books that going in I thought was an unhaul, and right now reading it, I don't think it's going to be an unhaul unless it pisses me off with the ending. And I also don't know whether I'm going to continue the series until I've seen the ending and know whether I want to continue the series, because I do sort of know how the relationship goes from here, sort of, but I'm not sure on anything else, obviously. So if the ending of this shocks me or like blows me away, I might expand into the rest of the series. But at the moment, it's not an unhaul after I read it. It's not anything like that at all. I just don't know. I'm at the point where I'm unsure on whether I should keep it, but I want to keep it enough that I think it'll just remain on my shelf until I need the room desperately. Unless it changes something in the end and I get really impressed and say hello to Santa. We call him Tub Tub. He's going to be in the videos. I don't know why he hasn't been in the videos until now, but he's been sitting there since Christmas. So I am enjoying it right now. I do want to, at the moment though, I do want to spin the wheel again, because even though I'm just over halfway through this book, I have no patience. And I also want the ability, because this has taken me a little bit to get through this, not because of the book itself, but because of the time that I'm trying to read it and the things that I'm doing outside of it. But also, I feel like at times when I can pick up the book, excuse me, she's very excited about this. At times that I can pick up the book, I'm not picking up the book to read it. And I'm forcing myself by putting timers on to actually read the book. So I think if I spin the wheel again, so I know what the next book is, if I get bored of this book or don't want to pick this book up but still want to read something, then I can have the other book there for me to start reading. And so I'm hoping for something that can be an opposite genre so that I don't get confused. I can read more than one book at once when they are different genres. If they're the same genre, I don't like to do that, because in my head it gets a little bit mashed together and I have to differentiate characters. So let me get the wheel up and we can see what book we might want to pick up as the last book for this video, but hopefully a book that I'm reading at the same time as this one to update you guys on at the same time. So I had to move the camera because Minty kind of knocked over my little makeup stand here, but that's okay. I really want to spin the wheel, really want an opposite genre if I can. Okay, we're hoping for the best here. Okay, let's spin. Let's spin. 10-second pick. Okay, that's me. I'm going to grab this one. Okay. I think that was 10 seconds. I'm so glad I was looking at that. I was about to look at the dog. So, okay, so this one. So 10-second pick was obviously, I need to pick a book in 10 seconds. Don't overthink it, just grab one. This Out of all the books that I got bought for my birthday, is one of the ones that's on my list as a priority. I really wanted to get my hands on this. I can't stop thinking about this. It's the last released book of Paisley Hope's books that she's released so far. And once I read this, I am done with... Well, I'm not done. I didn't read that one firefighter one that she did with other authors, but I will have read her base series up to date. And so when she releases another one, it'll be all good. So this is finishing off a series, I think, hopefully. I've been burnt in the past. You'll see that in the next video. This is the last in the series, and hopefully it'll be good. It is obviously opposite genres because this is a dark romance, whereas this is fantasy, or fantasy romance, but fantasy. So it is quite different. There's no magic in this one. There's a motorcycle club. This is the third book in the series. The first one I enjoyed enough. The second one was just a watered down version of the first one, and I was really disappointed by it. I'm hoping this one's going to be good. I know who this is following. It's also going into another motorcycle club as well, so I actually believe that this could be even better than the first one, perhaps. So I am excited, but this will be one that I'm reading alongside The Wren and the Holy Library to hopefully finish off this before the end of the month. At this point, I literally have just less than 4 days left of the month, which I can do it in. I reckon I've got the time now to do it. I've just finished the job that I was working on, and I have the ability to sit down and read for a couple of hours at the end of the day. I have been waking up earlier as well to try and do that. So we will see, and I'll get back to you on my thoughts on the new book, but also when I finish The Wren and the Holy Library as well. Okay, so it turns out that picking my next book actually gave me the motivation to finish the book I was on. For some reason, it made me want to read the book I was on faster. So I haven't started Fox yet, but I have completed The Wren and the Holy Library. Now, I'm pretty sure last I talked to you, we were going over how I wasn't sure whether I would be keeping this book or unhauling. I didn't feel like I'd unhaul it, and I wasn't sure whether I'd continue the series. It would depend on the ending. I fear that the ending was just too disjointed for me. I liked how this expanded into her powers. I liked how it expanded into a little bit more violence. For some reason, I like violence in my books. I think it somehow makes it a little bit more exciting because you don't know what's going to happen. I fear that it was too disjointed at the end because there were inconsistencies happening between pages. And I don't know whether it was my focus, but I'm sure there were things that were said and now contradicted 5 seconds later. Like someone had possession of something and then all of a sudden the person that initially had possession had that thing back, and like the other person hadn't stolen it yet. I don't know. It was just things like that that were a little bit too much for me. I loved the concept of this book though. I love the concept of who everyone is in the context of things. I love that it incorporates some Irish folklore in here. I just don't think that I'm connected to the characters enough to want to continue the series. The thing is, like I said, I still don't fully know what our main male monster character looks like fully, because I don't think I grasped his appearance, because the whole time she was just talking about how he was sculpted like a Greek god and then she changed it to a Celtic god, and it was like, I don't understand what he looked like. I also didn't get any connection between them like I think I wanted to. It felt forced on his side, and like I think it could be the Insta attraction. I don't think I had the time to get connected to them together or to them being meant for each other or whatever. I don't know, she had more of a connection with other people, which I understood as well because she was with them longer in her life. So we got more detail on them. I just feel like I didn't get enough on her. There wasn't enough substance to what I was reading to either make me care or make me remember things. So I think that after much consideration, I think that I will unhaul this book because I don't see myself going back to this. It's also the fact that it's set in a post-apocalyptic style New York. I don't think that I'm into things like that. I don't know. It's whenever something comes across as post-apocalyptic, I have trouble grasping, like, well, not grasping it. I have trouble caring about it. Like, I don't particularly desire watching or reading those sorts of things. And to a certain extent, there are things that I can stomach like it. Like, Divergent, to a certain extent, was that. And Hunger Games, especially, to a certain extent, was that. Which probably, if I'm comparing one of them to the other, I think Hunger Games was more close to this, not the actual story, but the world that the story is set in, where you've got the wealthy still have their pristine houses and everything, but the poorer are watching out for danger and it's harder to survive. I think that maybe I don't like that. Like, I read Year One by Nora Roberts, and the same thing came across my head. It was a post-apocalyptic, like, America. Like, they had a scene where it was in New York. And I like the violence that comes from it, but I don't like reading about it. I'm just not interested. So I think this will be on hold. If I do want to continue the series in the future, I'm sure I can source it somewhere else. I don't see myself buying a physical copy of it to read, if I even do end up reading it in the future. So I think, as far as a rating, I think I'm settling on a 3 stars. There just wasn't enough substance for me to give it more than that. I honestly, by the end, I was thinking 2.5 based on the substance, but I enjoyed it enough that I think a 3 is where it's at. It's not a bad book. I just didn't get connected to it like I think I wanted to. And it could be that the romance was giving me just the same washed up version of every other romantasy novel, just without the connection. So I am finished that now. It will come off my shelves, end of my physical TBR, since I just read it. And I will now move on to reading Fox by Paisley Hope. And I hope that this can finish off this video with maybe a higher rating or just a better experience overall. Because so far, we're not doing too crash hot on enjoyable books in this video. So we'll see what this one brings in a moment. Okay, this looks a little bit familiar because we're back at where we started, because this is how I'm ending the video as well. So I have now finished Fox by Paisley Hope. And oh my god, was this one so much better than the second one in this series. So this one, we're following the sister of one of the members of the Hounds of Hell from the first 2 books. And her younger sister in the first book had been essayed by a different motorcycle club. And so she obviously figures out that there's another person in that club or associated with that club who was involved in the assault of her sister. And so she infiltrates this club by taking a job at a bar that they own to try and figure out who it is and, you know, off them. So this one was really interesting. I actually liked it better than the first one. Again, with these books, there's so much running. I don't like running. So when people are running, I'm like, ugh, okay, that's exhausting, whatever. But I did really like this book a lot more than I thought. I rated this at 3.5 stars. The first one was a 3. The second one was a 2 star. So these books, while they're probably not the best dark romance, they are a good start if you are just starting into the genre. I think that the reason that I liked this book so much is because I like a male character who is obsessed with the female character. I want her to be his sole focus. And that definitely happened in this book. And I loved the banter that they had. I loved the way their relationship grew. And it wasn't built on trust at first. The fact that this didn't just instantly go into it, like he still didn't trust her, basically, like, I want to say halfway through it, I thought that was really, really good, because it wasn't just like, oh, this is dark romance, they're opposing clubs, blah, blah, blah. Oh no, but they love each other, like Romeo and Juliet style. This was genuinely like they had to work for it. And I do really, really appreciate that in this book. There were scenes in this book that I was scratching my chin a little bit, like a certain scene in a crocodile-infested water. Yeah, not my cup of tea, but you know, it was there. I did genuinely enjoy this, and I am glad that I did read this now, because now I finished all my Paisley Hope books, and I just got to wait for the new ones to come out. So I'm now up to date with all of her books thus far, except for that one firefighter one that she wrote with a bunch of other authors. I have not read that one yet, but it's only because I'm loving her series so much. So that is still on my list to get. But yeah, I did really enjoy this. So with all the books that we read in this video, the numbers ended up a little bit different than the way they normally do. Because I realized halfway through doing this video that my Goodreads was miscalculating how many books was on my physical TBR. So it turns out that I only had 120 books on my physical TBR, not 125 like I initially thought. So I went through and fixed that. And now, after starting the video on 120, we are finishing this video on 114, knowing that I read other books outside of this video. So there's 114 books left on my physical TBR that I have not read. And that is definitely below halfway. And I can see us before the end of the year getting my physical TBR under 100. And that would be a huge accomplishment, because I think last year I could have done that, but it was really, really complicated because I was buying books at the same time as reading them. Whereas this year I'm a little bit more iffy about what books that I'm buying. With that being said, I do hope you enjoyed this video. I am excited for the next episode of this series to see what books that I can read off my physical TBR as well. But I'll let you in on a little secret. My next video that's coming out will be a finishing off series video. And I only have one more book to read for that, and then it will be up. So look forward to that, and then after that will be the next episode in this series. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and a wonderful rest of your month, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.